Hi guys, welcome back to Unbreakable Latina. This is your host Melina. I'm recording a video episode. I actually had recorded already the video episode, but I don't know what happened in me like celebrating that I finished so fast. It got deleted. So here we are recording for the second time. This is how much I really want to do video podcasting. So if you guys could please like and subscribe and leave a comment below on this YouTube video, because yo girl was struggling right now. Like I was freaking out when I saw my memory card that it got locked, and I don't know what happened. I'm not a technology person, so here we are recording again. So I hope you guys are having an amazing day, whatever day you're listening to this on. I already started off so chaotic, but I had a good week. It's very hot right here where I live, and I have good news. My sister picked up the sweatshirts. I know, middle of summer with sweatshirts, but they're perfect for when you're cozy in your room and with the AC on full blast. And they look so pretty, and I can't wait to wear mine. Like, I can't wait to wear it to the gym and just wear it everywhere because they're so cute. I will be working on pictures for them and uploading it to my storefront probably on 4th of July. So they'll be live sometime this week. So stay tuned. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram so you guys could stay updated because that's where I post the most, and TikTok here and there. But Instagram, I go crazy on the stories. I haven't really been on my stories lately, but I'm about to pop off this week because I know that I'm gonna have time. So, this week was a good week. On Thursday, my mom, my sister, and I went to Disneyland, so that was fun. When I was little, Disneyland felt so much bigger, pero ahora ya de grandota, se me hizo tan chiquito. And I was just like, okay, I already been there, done that. And it was fun, but it was so hot. As you can see, your girl is tan. This is only from like going to the beach once and Disneyland. So, and today my family's having a pool party, so I will be in the shade because I cannot afford to buy new foundation. I'm just kidding. But I'm getting like super tanned, and I actually am kind of burnt. And the other day I got burnt on my thigh, and that thing stung after the beach. But it's been a good week, and I wanted to really get into this quick episode because this is my second time recording it. I wanted to talk about toxic relationships. And if you haven't listened to my first episode on toxic relationships, go listen to it. I'll link it below. I talk about how I myself found myself in a toxic relationship of 6 years. And I left that relationship about 3 years ago, and it's the best decision that I ever made. And this is a topic I wanted to cover because I saw a TikTok about a girl talking about how for so long she begged her partner to prioritize her, and she was so adamant that she wanted him to prioritize her, and he wouldn't. And she came to the realization that she didn't prioritize herself, and she prioritized him and everybody else over her. And that's something that I have also realized, that when I was in that relationship, I prioritized him and everything else came after, and he never prioritized me, and I would always fight about that. I would always be like, how come like your friends come first? How come this comes first? And it's like I was always competing with everything else in his life, and I came second or third or fourth or fifth, and I never was first. I never was a priority. And if you haven't listened to the episode or you don't want to listen to it, let me give you a little backstory. I was in this relationship for 6 years. It was on and off constantly. The biggest issue was the person I was with did drink a lot, and it would cause a lot of problems in our relationship. When I met this person, I didn't even drink. I was like such a little party pooper because when I was young, I was like in my teens. I know this is bad. If you're a teen, please do not do what I did. But I used to drink when I was like 16, 17, all the way till like 21. And when I turned 21, I was like, I already did it. So when I met this person at 23, I didn't even like beer. I was so like a little angelita, but he corrupted me. I'm just kidding. I was easily corrupted, and he introduced me like to alcohol and drinking again. And it was fun. It was fun in the beginning because it was like a summer and we were just partying. But then, like, once things got serious between us, a lot of our problems stemmed from drinking. And it wasn't that I never been a big drinker. I drink and, like, yeah, sometimes ahorita I'm a lightweight, so yeah, I get buzzed pretty fast, but it was him. He heavily drank, and I hated that. I hated that so much because it was like PTSD from when growing up my dad would drink a lot. And I hated it, and but I stayed with him. We had a lot of big fights, and when I put up that episode about toxic relationships, I didn't want to get too much into detail cuz it was still fresh. It had only been like a year and a half since we had broken up. I didn't want this person to think that, like, oh my God, she's over here bashing me, because I'm pretty sure I would get back to him. And that's not my purpose with today's episode either. My purpose is just for awareness if you have been going through certain situations that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. This is a trigger warning because I know some people it might bring bad memories if you were in a relationship like that or if you grew up watching these things happen. And I wanted to share this because I constantly get messages about that particular episode. It's actually like one of my top 3 episodes since I started the podcast, and it constantly gets me messages of people telling me thank you for acknowledging toxic relationships, thank you for sharing your story. And I remember when I uploaded that episode, a lot of my friends said, you didn't really get into details. And I said, yes, I did that on purpose because that wasn't my intention. My intention was to be very vague, at the same time say, hey, you're not alone if you've been through this or if you're going through this. But now I feel ready to talk about it and to share the things that I had been through, because if I could help one person, like, avoid being in a situation like that for so long, I did my job here. I did my job here on earth. But this relationship was very rocky from the start, and they say that when you start a relationship, whatever you don't like in the beginning is most likely what you're gonna hate. Not what you're gonna hate, what's gonna break you up at the end. And sure enough, in the beginning I didn't like the drinking, but I stayed because I was like, I could change him. So Bob the Builder, and I'm gonna fix this man. And I think a lot of us think, men and women think, that we're gonna fix our partners, and I don't think that's true. When someone shows you who they are, believe them, and it has to come within for someone to want to change. But you are not that person. That person has to want to change themselves. And for a long time I was like, I am the girl that's going to change his life, and he's gonna be in love, and he's gonna want to marry me. This person never wanted to get married, never wanted to have children, and because they already had children of their own, but I didn't know what I wanted. I was in my early 20s when I met him, so I've never been the type of girl that said, like, oh, I can't wait to have children, I can't wait to get married, and I've talked about that in previous episodes. But once I started hitting like 28, 29, I was like, ooh, my ovaries are tingling, and I do want to be a mother one day, and I do want to get married one day. And I shared this with my partner at the time, and he was like, I can't give you that. And constantly it was like then we broke up once or twice or a million times, but that was one of our breakups. And I said, well, I want that. If you can't give me that, then I'm walking away. Me being like super, I know what I want now. And then, like, he left me alone for like a couple of days, and then he said, you know what, I'll give you that. And I was like, yes, finally. Like, the story kind of reminded me of Nikki Bella. If you guys never watched, she's a wrestler. She was with John Cena for a long time. And he didn't want children, and she wanted children. So she'd be like, oh, well, he doesn't want it, so I guess we're not going to have any. And finally, he's like, I'll marry you. And she was just like, I don't want to anymore. Like, she got engaged and everything, called off the wedding, fell in love with her Dancing with the Stars actor partner. And now she has a baby, and she's very happy. And I always, like, I look up to her a lot because she walked away from a huge public relationship because he wasn't giving her what she needed. And you could tell, like, in the show that they had, the Bella Twins show, Like, she looked so unhappy, and that's how I was. He was telling me everything I wanted to hear, but the problems just kept getting worse, and there was a lot of highs in that relationship. So when you're in a toxic relationship, you hang on to those highs, and you said, but we had such a good day the other day. And I remember constantly saying, like, we're gonna have a good day today. I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna trigger him. I'd be walking on eggshells all the time because I didn't want to upset him, because I wanted to have a good day and I wanted to have a good weekend, and I didn't want to cry. That was the sign that I should have walked away. That was the first, that was not the first, but that was one of the many signs that should have been a red flag and said, hey, Melina, reevaluate this relationship. But I was young. This was like the first real relationship that I had, that I lived with this person that I shared so many memories with, and I've accomplished so many things in that, in my personal life. And at the time, I was going through all the problems with my dad, so that was like my escape. And once I ended the relationship with my dad, and that relationship continued to be chaotic, I was like, it's not my outside problems, it's the relationship itself. And I remember he would tell me all the time, me decía, oh, you're stressed out because of your dad, and you act like that because you're stressed out about your dad, and you're sad about your dad, and just a bunch of stuff like that. But I do remember particular moments where he left me at places, or he told me to leave, he kicked me out. There was a time when we were living together, we had gone to a wedding, we took an Uber back home, and I accidentally left my phone in the Uber porque traía el arreglo de centro de mesa y se me cayó mi teléfono. And he was so upset with me that he started yelling at me, saying that the Uber driver was so creepy, and now he's gonna know where we live. And he was drunk. So I was just like, well, he already knows where we live because we took the Uber. Like, now he has my phone. Like, what am I gonna do? So he was like yelling at me. Like, things happen. And in relationships like that, if someone is blaming you for a human mistake and making you feel like crap, that's not your person. I remember there was another time where I was celebrating a promotion at work. All my coworkers invited their husbands, their boyfriends, their girlfriends. And I said, hey, like, my coworkers are getting together. We're celebrating my promotion and my coworker's promotion. Like, can you come? It's going to be like here, and it's going to be after work. He would be like, I don't want to go. Like, that's your work thing. And I was like, but it really means a lot of you to go. Push came to shove, he came. And not push came to shove, that's a bad way to say it. But like me, like trying to like convince him to go for me, to celebrate an accomplishment of mine. And he ended up going, and he was having a miserable time. And then we got into this little argument. He ended up leaving me there when he was supposed to drive me home. So yeah, I have been left by someone who loved me at a parking lot in San Bernardino, and at night when everybody else had left already. So that was one of the worst things that he did, of many. But I remember him just taking the joy out of some huge accomplishment that I had achieved and just making it a miserable time. And I took him back again after that time. And there was many instances like this where there were these huge fights, and the next day it'd be like, but I love you. I love you. You just shouldn't have said that to me. And I think that's called gaslighting, but I'm not an expert in all these terms, but it would constantly be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And I always felt like I was walking on eggshells. And don't get me wrong, there was a lot of happy moments, and that's what I held on to. But there was these huge fights that were very significant, and looking back, I'm like, how did I put up with this? Now some guy choose wrong, and I'm like, ew, I don't like him. But I just wanted to share these little stories because if you are in a relationship that's toxic, where your partner is not valuing you, where they're not prioritizing you, where they're not showing you love, where they're constantly belittling you or telling you that you're crazy, that you're insecure, in that relationship, me sentía fea. Me sentía tan fea porque pensaba que, like, I'm like, he doesn't love me. Like, he does these mean things to me, and like, I must not be worthy of love. And I remember people used to always tell me, you have to love yourself, Melina. And I'd be like, I do love myself. Like, how dare you guys say I don't love myself? But I didn't. I didn't value myself. I didn't love myself. I think growing up, I saw how my parents would bicker, but at least my partner at the time, he took me on trips that I paid half for, but whatever, besides the point. But like, he took me on trips and he cooked for me and he did this and he did that. And at least he's present. Not always, but the times that he is, compared to how my dad used to be growing up, where he was just like very quiet and didn't want to do a lot of stuff, and just kind of like, he would go to places, but he was not engaging. And the thing is that this person that I was with was very like, how do I call this? Like, center of attention type of person in his friends, like the jokester and stuff. But when it came to something that I wanted to do with my friends or my family, he was very reserved. Towards the end, he started getting really close to my family, but he would just act so much different. And people would be like, I don't get why you're with him. And I'd be like, no, but you guys have to see. He's so good and he's so funny and he's so this. Always defending him. But then if I ever shared the stories with my friends of things he said or done to me, and they're like, what are you doing with this person? And I would always try to defend them. And the thing is, in that relationship, I really lost myself. I lost myself so much that I didn't respect myself. I didn't care about anything except trying to make it work. And if I could go back and tell my 20-something-year-old self to leave as soon as I saw the first red flag, I would. So the reason that I'm doing this episode is because if you're in your early 20s, and it doesn't matter what age, but I feel like 20s is crucial because it's like your first love. It's the first person that you're like, oh my God, I'm going to marry this person. And I believe that there's many loves. Like, you're going to find love again. It's probably going to be better. But at the time, you're young. You're like, oh my God, es el amor de mi vida, de todas las novelas que miraste. It's always chaotic, and you're used to that. And if you grew up in a home where you didn't see how true love was, this is the best that it's gonna get, because the example you had wasn't that great. Every person that I know that has been in relationships that are bad usually comes from, I don't want to say this is like statistics or anything, but comes from growing up in a household where they didn't know what true love was. So I accepted a lot of disrespect. I accepted a lot of, like, I remember I used to go to sleep crying. Me decía, cállate, no puedo dormir. Like, shut up. I can't sleep if you're crying. But I'd be like, talk to me. He's like, I don't want to talk to you. Silent treatment all the time. If your partner is disrespecting you, giving you the silent treatment, not valuing you, it's time to walk away, amiga. No eres Bob the Builder. You can't fix them. And I can't imagine how hard it is to walk away when you have children. But think of that. That should be more ammo to leave that person, because you don't want your child growing up in a home where you're constantly bickering with your partner, where your partner is not valuing you, is not making you feel loved. And it's better to walk away and to show your child the disrespect is not good. And you need to walk away no matter how long you've been together, no matter all the things you've been through. It's not worth to stay, because we only get one life to live. I would not trade the peace that I have now to go back into that relationship. I can't imagine what would have happened if I would have stayed. I probably, if we would have got married, been divorced by now. If we would have had a kid, I'd be raising a child in 2 households. And I am so grateful that I got the strength to walk away after many, many years of debating. And I remember that towards the end of the relationship, like, I would just sit there and be like, this is how my life is gonna be. Do you like this? And I'd say no. Like, I don't like this. And it was a constant like battle in my head. But like, at the time, before like the last breakup, things were so good. We were getting along, pero no estaba feliz, como que ya no lo amaba. Ya no lo amaba. I didn't love him anymore. And I just grew like, era como conveniencia, y era porque, ¿cómo se dice? Like, rutina. Like, it was just like the routine. I already, like, I've been living with this person. This is what we did. But I didn't find joy in that. And that's like the huge sign that that relationship wasn't for me. And I know I rambled in this episode because the last episode was good, but it got deleted. So hopefully this episode is better. But my whole point of this episode is toxic relationships are hard to leave, but you can do it. If someone is making you cry more than they're making you happy, it's time to walk away. I know relationships are not perfect. I know that people have problems. Like, everybody has issues. But if someone is making you feel that crappy, it's not worth it. It's not worth to stay. It's not worth to fight. We can't change anybody. They have to want to change themselves in order to be happy. I'm not saying that people can't change, but I am saying that it's not worth to be unhappy all the time. Life is short. Starting over is scary. I remember like when I left that relationship that I was like, I'm losing my friends. I'm losing my favorite places to go to. I'm losing like a whole family. Like I was invested, you know, I'd been there for so long that I was part of the family, even though like officially I wasn't. So it was very difficult. It's very difficult to navigate life on my own. I remember actually I had been really thinking about it too because I got new couches yesterday. And I remember when I left that relationship, I was sleeping on the couches that I just sold. And when they took the couches yesterday, I was like, wow. I told my mom, those couches have been through a lot. And she's like, ¿Por qué? And I was like, girl, I used to be, like, that was my bed. When I left that relationship, no tenía cuarto. I came back to live with my mom and my sister. And I slept on that couch for years. But I would rather, not years, it was like a year. I would rather sleep on the couch than to be going to sleep crying. I remember when I used to cry myself to sleep and he'd tell me to be quiet and give me the silent treatment and just like walk on eggshells all the time. The peace that I have right now, I would not trade it for anything. And sometimes I think like, oh, I'm 33 and I gave all these years to this relationship. But you know what? It happens. You live and you learn. And at least I learned and I didn't continue to live that way. So if you're feeling like your relationship is not going anywhere and this person is treating you very badly, walk away, amiga. Look at me. Like, I walked away. I discovered my love for podcasting and now I'm a little influencer and I'm happy. I might not have it all together, but it's better than where I was at when I was in that relationship. I hope you guys have an amazing week. And please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Leave me 5 stars. Subscribe to my YouTube. And please leave a thumbs up and comment below because we're going to continue to do this video podcasting. I will figure out how to upload all this. And I hope it comes out good. It looks good. No sé. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Unbreakable Latina, on Twitter at Latina Podcast, and subscribe to the YouTube. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.